Okay, I was asked to speak something about Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Nrsimhadev. Now the deity is Lakshmi Nrsimha. Prahlad just gets a free ride because along with Lakshmi Nrsimha there's Prahlad Maharaj. The section I wanted to speak from is a series of prayers after Lord Nrsimhadev becomes calm. Canto 7, Chapter 9, Text 14. This narration is found in a section of the Srimad Bhagavatam where Narada Muni is instructing Yudhisthira in the presence of Krishna about this wonderful pastime. When Maharaj Yudhisthira was performing the Rajasuya sacrifice, the great sage Narada, responding to his inquiry, recited historical facts showing how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always impartial, even when killing demons. In this regard, he gave the following example. That was text 13 from this chapter, Canto 7. There's Lord Nrsimhadev. This is Lord Nrsimhadev in Sridham Mayapur. Notice his eyes are bright red. Do you know the story about his bright red eyes? I'll tell you a little story about the bright red eyes. The pujari, a brahmachari, thought these bright red eyes might intimidate the guests. So he decided to change his eyes. That was a mistake. So the eyes went from red to green. And the next day, when he went to worship the deity, he heard a voice. "Return my red eyes." Looked around, who said that? Who said that? He went back to worshiping the deity. He heard the voice 3 times. "Return my red eyes." In kind of like an angry voice. I mean, a human voice, but an angry voice. 3rd time, he went off the altar, he went to find Jananivas and asked, "What do I do? What do I do?" And Jananivas asked him, "Did you change his eyes from red to something else?" He said, "Yes, I thought people would become afraid." Immediately, "Stop your puja, put the eyes back." A little reciprocation with Lord Nrsimhadev. So it wasn't like he wanted to scare people, but whatever the reason, he wanted the eyes that you see, and so they returned. The eyes that you see. And there's Prahlad. And the narrator, at least from my experience, has everything to do with our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, because he, at the very beginning, just like we sang the Nrsimha prayers, whenever we performed arti, the training was at the end of arti, offer Premadhvani prayers, and after the Premadhvani prayers, Nrsimha prayers. It was like every day, every time we had arti. So we began to learn about Prahlad Maharaj, and Prabhupada would speak about Prahlad Maharaj from time to time. Just another little sharing. Hearing, as I heard about Prahlad Maharaj, I became very attracted. This is 1970, young brahmachari, fresh out of college, hearing about Prahlad Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj. So I became very attracted. And as if hearing my prayer, after some time, in the earliest days, the literature that we distributed in the public was Back to Godhead magazine. That was it. Invitation to the temple, some discussion, Back to Godhead magazine. And then we had a second literature, Teachings of Prahlad. I was like really excited. So I read it many times. Little blue cover, Prahlad on the front. Because Prabhupada wanted us to understand, and he wanted the public to understand, what are these teachings? So this section, it starts with verse 14. There's just a few verses. How is Prahlad, you know the background, the demigods were afraid. After Hiranyakashipu was killed, the Lord was still roaring. And nothing that they did could pacify him. They understood Prahlad is the one that can pacify him. Little boy, they pushed him forward. Go up to Lord Nrsimhadev and pacify him with prayers. And so this is what he said. My Lord Nrsimhadev, please cease your anger now that my father, the great demon Hiranyakashipu, has been killed. Since even saintly persons take pleasure in the killing of a scorpion or a snake, all the worlds have achieved great satisfaction because of the death of this demon. Now they are confident of their happiness, and they will always remember your auspicious incarnation in order to be free from fear. Lots of lessons. In the red letters at the top of the Sanskrit, there's manyum, tad yachcha, manyum, cease your anger. Because you've done the needful, and there's no need for the anger now, so please put your anger away and allow us to remember your auspicious incarnation in order to be free from fear. Now, scorpions, generally speaking, some are not so dangerous, but scorpions in general are dangerous. And one of the things that I learned about scorpions is you don't have to agitate them. You just have to be near them and they'll strike. You have to step on them or intimidate them or threaten them. They, without provocation, they'll strike. The nature of a scorpion. And those like this guy, they have a little rattler on the end of their tail, and they rattle their tail before they strike. And then they strike. And when they strike, it can be lethal because they're poisonous. Prabhupada's purport. The most important point in this verse is that although saintly persons never desire the killing of any living entity, they take pleasure in the killing of envious living entities like snakes and scorpions. There's a scorpion, here's a cobra. Hiranyakashipu was killed because he was worse than a snake or scorpion, and therefore everyone was happy. Now, Prabhupada told a story. I'll share the story with you. One time he was visiting at the headquarters of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Mayapur. Bhaktisiddhanta had established a number of temples. They were given the name Gaudiya Mat, and the headquarters was the Chaitanya Gaudiya Mat. And at the center of the Chaitanya Gaudiya Mat was the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya. During Mahaprabhu's time, Chandrasekhar Acharya was a Vaishnav, devotee of his, and he was a leader, and he was a Brahmana, and he was the one, in fact, that performed the sannyas yagya for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a very qualified Brahmana and a leader. And there was a very intimate relationship. So the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya is where the Chaitanya Gaudiya Math headquarters was established. Once Prabhupada was visiting from Calcutta, and during the course of that visit, there was a lot of commotion, a bunch of Bengalis making a lot of noise. And he came out to see what the noise was. The noise was, there was a snake, a cobra, like the one you saw a moment ago. And everyone was very afraid what to do, and started running and screaming. And Bhaktisiddhanta heard the noise too. And sometime you may visit Mayapur. It's a 2-story house. Up on the 2nd story, there's a veranda, because he stayed upstairs. And he came to the edge of the veranda, looked over, and saw what the commotion was all about. In a loud, booming voice, he said, "Kill it." And Prabhupada was shocked. How can a sadhu say, "Kill it"? Because you don't kill. I mean, you don't kill unnecessarily. But then Prabhupada said when he read this verse, he was greatly relieved. Because it's from the position of Prahlad Maharaj, the authority of Prahlad Maharaj. Now, in material life, one of the circumstances of material life is fear. And fear, where does fear arise from? We're going to see the verse in a moment, but fear arises from bhayam dutiyam abhiniveshitakshat. There's the verse. Bhayam means fear. Fear arises from abhinivesh, or absorption in the bodily conception of life. I'll say it again. Fear arises from absorption in the bodily conception of life. Now, we all have bodies. And if you're in the bodily conception, there's going to be fear, naturally so. And there's a way to cleanse fear, and that's to cleanse ignorance of the bodily conception of life. If you don't do that, it's not going to happen. Here's the verse, the translation of the verse. One whose intelligence, this is Canto 11, Chapter 2. This is the Navayogendras instructing King Nami, in case you want to know where that is. One whose intelligence is constantly disturbed by his falsely identifying himself with the temporary material world can achieve real freedom from fear only by worshipping the lotus feet of the infallible Supreme Lord. In such devotional service, all fear ceases entirely. It ceases entirely because, according to 3rd Canto Bhagavatam, or Kapila's teachings, Bhakti has the power to dissolve the subtle body. The subtle body is one of the coverings, is the place where emotion rests, the mind. Emotions resting in the mind. And fear arising from the bodily conception, fear is going to be there, at least from time to time. Fear of death for sure, and fear of something startling, or fear of whatever it is, due to the bodily conception of life. Here's the Sanskrit. Bhayam dvitiyam. Dvitiyam is the duality of abhinivesh. Abhinivesh is absorption in dvitiyam, the sense of duality, the body and the mind distinct from who we really are, the soul. Here's the whole verse. Bhayam dutiyam abhiniveshitakshat ishad apetasya viparyayo smritihi tanmaya yato buddha abhajitam bhaktyayakam yesham guru devatatma. Prabhupada's comment. Fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is effected by the potency for illusion, called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and as his very life and soul. The standard instruction, but the scriptural source for it is this. Krishna, what Prahlad is saying, is that he is feared by fear personified. Now this fear personified term comes from Queen Kunti's prayers. Now there's a recording, and I don't know if the sound is going to work, because let's see what happens. She's going to sing it twice, so you can sing along the chorus. Go ahead. Gopyada de tvai krishnan amatabat yati vidam aktram niyam tasya samyati viveti. Gopyata de tvai krishnan amatabat yate dadrushu kalinchana sambramaksham vaktram nidhasya. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes, and you were afraid, although fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. He who is feared by fear personified, that's Krishna, became afraid of the stick in Mother Yasoda's hands and began crying. And Lord Nrsimhadev was becoming so angry after killing Hiranyakashipu, he was still roaring. But the reasoning is there's no need for the Lord to be angry. He's already dead. And similarly, the devotees can always remember the form of Nrsimhadev when they are in danger. And therefore, appearance of Nrsimhadev was not at all inauspicious. Now, one of the practices that we were trained is when getting in a car, especially our traveling Sankirtan parties, because danger could happen. So it was just a rule or a practice. As soon as the van gets going, we're singing Nrsimha prayers. It's interesting, I was visiting in China, they do the same thing. There's a devotee who is in charge of the whole China Yatra. She's a Chinese lady. And every time I've been in a car with her, the first thing she does, she's not the driver, someone's the driver, but she sings very strongly the Nrsimha prayers, taking shelter, because anything can happen. And when something does happen that's fearful, you know what to do. Nrsimhadev. One more verse. There's more than one verse, but I'm just going to do one more verse. Here's verse 15. There's Lord Nrsimhadev finishing Hiranyakashipu, and here's the translation. My Lord, who are never conquered by anyone, I am certainly not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue, your eyes bright like the sun, or your frowning eyebrows. I do not fear your sharp, pinching teeth, your garland of intestines, your mane soaked with blood, or your high, wedge-like ears. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, That's taken from a drama that the kids put on the Nrsimhadev prayer. Hiranyakashipu comes out of the pillar and they played that, so I borrowed the sound clip. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, which makes elephants flee to distant places, or your nails, which are meant to kill your enemies. Prabhupada's comment, the lion is very fearsome for other animals, but its cubs are not at all afraid of the lion. The water of the sea is certainly dreadful for all living entities on land, but within the sea, even the small fish is unafraid. Why? Because the small fish has taken shelter of the big ocean. It is said that although great elephants are taken away by the flooding waters of the river, the small fish swim opposite the current. Therefore, although sometimes the Lord assumes a fierce appearance to kill duskritis, the devotees worship him. Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare. The devotee always takes pleasure in worshiping the Lord and glorifying the Lord in any form, either pleasing or fierce. So I was asked to speak something about Prahlad and Lord Nrsimhadev. So I couldn't, easy choice is Prahlad's glorifying the Supreme Lord, because he has full shelter and he has no fear of his fierce features, because he knows it's not intended for him. It was intended for Hiranyakashipu, and sure enough, it worked. But now he's gone, so please remove those fierce features. And that's exactly what happened. Because of the calmness and devotion of Prahlad, Lord Nrsimhadev stopped roaring. Not only he stopped roaring, but he came and placed his hand or his paw on the head of little Prahlad so he could speak these eloquent words. I'll go quickly because I want to end. This is verse 16. Oh, most powerful, insurmountable Lord, who are kind to the fallen souls, I have been put into the association of demons as a result of my activities. And therefore, I am very much afraid of my condition of life within this material world. When will that moment come when you will call me to the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the ultimate goal for liberation from conditional life? So is there, even for Prahlad, is there something to be afraid of? And the afraid is bad association. because bad association produces aversion. So it's important to have good association. That's looking around the room. I think we came to the right place. And you invited all the right people. The devotees of the Lord have come to see the installation of Lakshmi Nrsimha and Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. Look at this nice big banner, Lord Jagannath. I remember this from long ago. You've had this for many years, a couple of decades probably. How many times have you been to Puri? 3? Did you happen to go at Rath Yatra time? No, too crowded. I've been to Puri 3 times, but I didn't get to go inside because my skin color is the wrong color. But he's in your home. And when you take we're going to have the arti shortly, take a close look at Subhadra. She looks very different. Yes? Look closely when you see. Did you know, in case you didn't know, now you'll know, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was residing in Sri Rangam for the 4 months of the rainy season, he felt such separation from Lord Jagannath that he personally carved Jagannath deities. And they look very different. Do you have a copy, Radha Vallabha, of the photograph of the deities? Rati, do you have a copy? Okay, I'll send it. I'll send you, or you either, and then you can circulate to others. There's a nice story behind it. I'll just do the nice story behind it too. When we went to see Lord Ranganath, one of the things that a few of us had the privilege of doing is we met the descendant of Venkata Bhatta. I think his name is Murali Bhatta. It's the same last name, Brahmana family. And he is still amongst the priests. He may be also the chief priest in Sri Rangam. So with his kindness, he took us into the house that he lived in and said, my question was, where did Lord Chaitanya stay? Because when we went into the house, it was one of those 3 things. Those walls that are like 3.5 feet thick, stone. And because it was stone, inside the house, they didn't need air conditioning. It was just cool. Outside was hot, but inside was cool. Second thing, there was like Zippo furniture. There was one table. I didn't ask. There was nothing on the table. Big, heavy, hardwood table, dark colored table. And there weren't lights, there were just lamps on the wall. So then I asked, where did Lord Chaitanya stay? And he went like this. He said the place was his. He just moved his hand. So I could feel that, something unique about the place. Besides, super Brahminical, clean, super simple. And Lord Chaitanya had been there for 4 months. And then he said, did you know that he carved Lord Jagannath while he was here? And I said, no. Would you like to? I'll take you to the temple if you'd like to go. Let's go. So on the way over, he said he wasn't idle. He wasn't here for 4 months idle. He was feeling great separation from Lord Jagannath. And in his mood of separation from Lord Jagannath, he requested some wood, and with his own hand, he carved these nice Jagannath deities. their features are quite different. They're not, with the big eyes and the configuration of their face and head. It's very different. But it's his loving reciprocation with Lord Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. So it's across the street from their home. It's down maybe a block and a half or so, and it's receded from the main roadway. It's a little temple, little altar, little temple on top of a pedestal kind of thing, and inside are these beautiful, very, very beautiful deities. So Jagannath has attracted the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada's purport from this verse: everyone is put into conditional life according to his karma. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj, representing all the other conditioned souls, admits that he was put into life among the asuras because of the results of his past karma. The Lord is known as Kripana Vatsala because he is extremely kind to the conditioned souls. The Lord is extremely anxious to deliver the conditioned souls. And that's the end of this little presentation. So, Lord Nrsimhadev is a place of protection, not only when there's a cause of fear, but a place of protection. Because we're protected by the one who's the controller of everyone and everything. But that feature of Lord Nrsimhadev was specifically to protect Prahlad. So there's an intimate connection, of course, between Lakshmi Nrsimhadev, but Prahlad Nrsimhadev, they're practically inseparable. It's 7:35. I think we should I ask for questions, or should we just do RT because it's getting late? Yes, Maharaj? I gave two choices.
No, we'll do the offering in meantime.
He's doing what?
Offering.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, any discussion? Yes. Hare Krishna. Hey, there's a portable microphone coming your way. Look at this.
I can speak.
You have a strong voice.
Speak loudly.
Yes, I can tell.
Fear personified, is that Yamaraja?
No. Ah, you who are feared by fear personified. That's a nice question. Fear personified. Not Yamaraj, because one is afraid of death. One might say fear personified is time, because time destroys everything. Kala. Time destroys everything. And so Yamaraj may be an agent of time, but time is the one that destroys.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. We have a hand up over here.
Guru Maharaj, we have also heard about Lord Nrsimhadev in Chaitanya Leela. Quite a bit. I think when Chandkazi, Lord Chaitanya appears as Lord Nrsimhadev and actually threatens Chandkazi. Just wanted to kind of hear more about Lord Nrsimhadev's importance in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes.
Okay, I understand there's some newer people in the audience. So for the newer people in the audience, let me give a little background to his question. Our chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is enjoined in the scripture for this age of Kali as the means of purification and achieving perfection in this age of Kali by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So Lord Chaitanya, as a young Brahmana in Navadvip, he began, after some time, he began Sankirtan, using drum, kartals, and enthusiastic kirtan. And it was so loud that the people would complain. And the biggest complainers of all were the Brahmins. The Brahmanas complained because they went to the Qazi, the Muslim ruler, and said, he's spoiling our Hindu dharma, because people are, instead of coming to us to do yagyas, they're going to the Sankirtan party. And we're losing business. And so, stop him. You're the Qazi, you should stop him. So the Qazi sent some constables, and they ordered the devotees to stop chanting. And to prove that they meant it, they took their sticks and broke the mridanga. Big mistake. That next day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed 10,000 followers. He was a very popular young man. 10,000 angry Bengalis, carrying torches. And at night they lit the torches, and they went to all the marketplaces through all of Navadvip in defiance of the order of the Chankazi. And then at night they came directly to his home. 10,000 angry Bengalis, all day long, all worked up and coming to his home. And they sat down underneath his window, and he wouldn't come out. Finally, with much coaxing, he came out. Because he was a ruler, but at the same time he was very learned, not only in his scripture, but in the Vaishnava scripture. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have nothing to worry, we're not going to harm you, but I'd like to have some discussion. So this is about a 16-year-old Brahmin teacher and the Muslim ruler, Chankazi, having a discussion. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, young Nimai Pandit, said, can you explain why in your religion it's a standard practice to kill your mother? That's how his discussion started. And he said, why do you say that? I say that because the cow is your mother. And you kill cows. And then he described, according to Vedic culture, the 7 mothers. But you live on cow's milk, then after taking the cow's milk, you kill the cow? What kind of religious principle is this? Kill your mother. The Qazi said, in your scripture, there's also a process of Ashvamedha and Gomedha Yagya, horse sacrifice, cow sacrifice. So what's the difference? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, when they're Ashvamedha, Gomedha Yagya, they don't kill the horse or kill the cow. It's a way of testing the Vedic mantra. The cow or the horse come to the fire and they come out a young calf or baby or renewed life to test the power of the mantra. So it's not cow killing or horse killing. And the Qazi then said, to be honest, I know you're right. We shouldn't kill the cow, we shouldn't kill our mother. But what can I do? It's part of our religion. It's part of our religion, we do these things. So Lord Chaitanya said, please discontinue cow killing. Please discontinue killing your mother. And he said, very well. And Lord Chaitanya asked him, why was this change of mood and that you've just displayed. And Chankaji said, I'll tell you privately. And Nimai Pandit said, no need to go private. You're with friends. You can tell me openly. This is, 10,000 angry Bengalis hearing his talk. He said, last night, I had a dream. After breaking the drum, this huge creature, half man, half lion, jumped on my chest in my sleep and began roaring. And he opened my shirt and he, with his claws, look, he showed the claws of Lord Nrsimhadev, ripped his chest, said, you don't ever do this again. Said, because you didn't stop our chanting all day long. You said you would stop our chanting. That's why I didn't. He ordered me, never do this again or you're finished. So the quest was a story about Lord Nrsimhadev and the pastime of Lord Chaitanya. The pastime of Lord Chaitanya was Lord Nrsimhadev is protecting the devotees because the instrument for their harm wasn't them, but it was the kirtan. So to protect the kirtan, Lord Nrsimhadev did what Lord Nrsimhadev did. He stopped the Kazi and warned him, you do this again, you're finished. Is it offered? Now? Done? Still offering. What? You want me to make the offering? How can I do this and do that at the same time? I can't expand myself. Can you? You come give the class and I'll do the offering. How's that? I think you better make the offering. Okay. I persuaded him. Okay. Anything else? Yes.
Maharaj, so when Prahlad Maharaj says that Krishna is everywhere and he's in this pillar too, Hiranyakashipu, when he...
So the child is louder than you are. Try again.
So when he hits the pillar, Lord Nrsimhadev comes out of the pillar, right? Maharaj roaring. So did Prahlad Maharaj was surprised to see, because he haven't seen that form of Krishna any time.
Try again. He came out of the pillar. And Prahlad was surprised.
Was he surprised? Because whatever he heard from Bhagavatam, from Narada Muni, he might be thinking of Narayana or Krishna in a different features. But when he saw Lord Nrsimhadev, was he surprised because he's half man, half lion, and he is big? Like, I was just wondering, he hasn't seen the form of Nrsimhadev any time, so was he like surprised?
Well, there's different answers. Here's one answer. When Hiranyakashipu said, where is this Lord? Prahlad said, he's everywhere, Father. And then Hiranyakashipu said, is he in this pillar? Commentary says, he saw Nrsimhadev peeking from the pillar. He said, yes, he's in the pillar. So let him save you now, and he slashed the pillar. So it wasn't so surprised because he knew he was there. That's one version. One commentary says like that.
Did he know about the benediction that Hiranyakashipu received, that he should not be killed by any weapon nor in the day and night?
Probably, but why not? He's the son, and his father thinks he's well protected, so the son probably has an idea. But the personality of Godhead isn't restricted by somebody's being clever, obviously. Because there's other examples and other examples. You know, Ravana and his example. So, being clever doesn't mean you can stop the Supreme Lord. He's more clever than the most clever.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay? Yes, all the way in the back.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. My question is, since Lord Nrsimha has a permanent planet in the spiritual world,
Yes, he does.
so is it safe to say that he appears, every,
Once in a day of
once in
Brahma.
a day of Brahma or so?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. It's safe to say that.
okay. So this this benediction that was given to Hiranyakashipu is kind of part of the pastime of Lord Nrsimha.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
There's, in between, there's a verse in, don't go away yet, there's a verse in Padma Purana that describes, as the Bhagavatam describes, the Leela avatars. And in that verse in Padma Purana, it says 3 of the Leela avatars are Paravasta, forms of the Lord, which means, specifically it says, their opulences are existing equally in fullness. And that Krishna is the source of the other 2. Padma Purana. Which means, other than those 3, they're Bhagavan also, but they're not manifesting all of the bhagas of Bhagavan. They possess them, but they're not manifesting all of the bhagas of Bhagavan. And the other 2 are Rama and Nrsimha. Nice understanding. Okay, let's get ready for Arti. Srila Prabhupada ki, Lakshmi Nrsimha Prahlad Nrsimha ki, Gaur Premanandi.